Who's speaking, please?
That's Gerard speaking. How can we help you?
Gerard, are you a police officer?
No, I'm an unsworn member.
What does an unsworn member do? Because I've actually got a complex and serious complaint, including professional misconduct and long-term injury or death.
Right, and professional misconduct by who?
Well, it's quite a vexed issue. It's quite complicated, my issue. It's by very many public officials
So public officials.
and politicians, yeah.
Right.
So I'll just summarising. I just want to speak to someone because of the following reasons, and I want to be very.
Well, it is Sunday, so you're not going to actually get anyone other than the watch floor here. I'll just check with the sergeant whether the ones you speak to or whether you need to speak to someone else.
Okay, can I just interject there and say I want to report a complex, politicised issue in which I'm victimised. I'm also reporting.
So the offences against an individual, is that what you're saying?
Well, if you just let me finish, there's a little paragraph I need to read. So I'm reporting complex politicised issue in which I'm victimised. I'm reporting a long-term sustained injury that happened inside a hospital that causes a cognitive brain impairment and its cover-up. And I'm reporting victimisation causing psychological damage, property damage, and reputational damage and detriment. That's because I made a complaint. And additionally, I'm reporting a complex issue of an actual conspiracy to pervert the course of justice, and I'm also reporting that I've been exploited and isolated victim of a persecution from the Australian government.
You're alleging the Australian government is persecuting you?
Yes, that's correct.
Right. And what, the entire government?
Well, it's not the entire government, but only the people who I've contacted, which includes the Office of Prime Minister and Cabinet. It includes examples such as I'm banned from AFCA. Includes such injustices as I've lost $1.5 million from the Australian Human Rights Commission, who threw out my case. And I think this all stems from a situation where my former partner is actually an ASIO agent, and he owes me a fair settlement from our time together. But the government's protecting him and his finances in favour of exploiting me as a mentally ill person.
Right, just hold the line, I'll speak to the sergeant. None of these things would appear to be the matters that we normally deal with, so I'll just talk to the sergeant.
It's an unusual situation, yeah.
Hello, you there, sir? Just putting you through to my sergeant now. Hold the line.
Thank you.
Good morning, Knox Watchmore Sergeant. This is Russell.
Oh, g'day, Russell. This is Richard McLean. How you going?
Good, thanks, Richard. How are you? How can I help you today?
You can help me by having a little bit of probably a little bit lengthy conversation about a situation I've found myself in. At the start of this, can I just get your name and police number?
Yeah, Sergeant Russell Kafer, 21130.
21130. Okay. Look, I'm ringing up today because I'm not aware of how to report crime or anything, and I've tried, but I'm reporting today a complex and serious complaint. That's included substandard care and professional misconduct. It's corruption of public officials, and it's resulted in a long-term injury and literally almost nearly a death. I want to say that I'm reporting a complex politicised issue in which I'm victimised, reporting a long-term injury sustained inside the hospital, and that's caused a bit of a brain defect and impairment in me and the cover-up of that. And I'm reporting victimisation, and that's caused me financial detriment, psychological detriment, the theft of everything I own, and reputational detriment. And that's because I made a legitimate complaint. And I also, just two more things, I'm reporting a complex issue of an actual, I think, conspiracy to pervert the course of justice, and I'm reporting that I've been exploited and I'm really an isolated victim of a focused persecution from the Australian government. Now, I know that's a lot to take on, as you have just been introduced to the call, but if I've got it all prepared, if I could just maybe go through a bit of a letter that I've got written here. It might take a little while, but I'd really want to talk to someone about it.
Yeah, I understand that. My position in the NOSC isn't to investigate matters at the moment. So what will have to happen is you'll have to report the matter online. So the AFCA website, you can go to a report a crime online.
I've already tried to do that.
Richard.
Yeah.
What state did these offences or these alleged offences occur?
Victoria and federally. Well, it depends on who government officials are. I mean, the Office of Prime Minister and Cabinet refused my freedom of information, and I'm actually a well-known, celebrated author, and I would have a public profile in the government. They're saying I don't exist. In addition to that, I've been banned at AFCA, and I've lost $1.5 million at the Australian Human Rights Commission, and I've also had not one but two work cover cases that have never been paid. And there's a lot of corrupt government officials who are covering this up. And in addition to that, lastly, I've got a former partner who was an ASIO agent, and he was a very wealthy man who exploited me, and the government are protecting his reputation and his wealth, so I can't get a settlement, and this is called family violence. Now, the family violence is elongated because every government agency I talk to, I can't get justice anywhere in the ones that I've just described there. And he's never come to a settlement. And at the moment, I can't get a lawyer, I can't go to police, and I'm a rejected whistleblower. So I'm in a very difficult position.
So you can go to legal aid?
No, I can't. I've tried to go to legal aid. I'm profiled by my name and my number, and I'm 50 years old, and I've never been able to get help from legal aid. Yes, I've tried all the legal avenues. I've literally tried till the cows come home. In that time that I've been trying to get support for myself, I've been rendered homeless, and I've actually been hospitalised and killed myself from the very oppression that this is causing me. And it's caused, it was deemed a fatal injury and a lethal attempt. And now I live with a brain detriment. And there's another cover-up, systemically and politically, about that injury. The hospital owes me a settlement, and they've got away with it, you know.
You've obviously got documentation to support all these claims?
Yes, I have.
Okay. So the best thing to do is if you want to report it, you've obviously tried to report it through Victoria Police?
Yes, I'm across Victoria Police. In actual fact, they were the ones who came to my house, kicked in the door and cuffed me and took me to a hospital. And while I was in there, the hospital and the police oversaw the destruction of everything I own. They went to my house and got my whole house and took it to the tip. So I've got a bit of a mistrust about police because I think they profile me and I think they vilify me for being apparently mad. And it is true I've got a mental illness, but it's no reason to further persecute me. And additionally, it doesn't exclude that there's an actual conspiracy existing, you know?
Yeah, okay. I don't believe police would turn up to a home and remove all of your property and take it to the tip for multiple reasons.
They have. I'm not lying.
I'm still talking. It's because we don't have the time to do those sort of things. It's probably the number one reason. So
all I'm saying is, whilst I was in hospital for 2 months, my former landlord, because I was squatting, I haven't got any money from anywhere, went to my home and he cleared it out. He took the whole house to the tip.
Richard, you just said to me police did that.
Oh, sorry. I correct myself. I correct myself. I meant to say... Pardon?
Your story's changing.
No, I meant to say, and I'll correct myself, that I tried to call police when my goods were being destroyed, and they refused to go and stop him.
But that's a civil matter.
Okay, you understand how it might be my perspective that I believe the police have overseen the destruction of my goods because they refused to intervene as they were being destroyed, yeah?
Well, no, that's not a policing matter. That's a civil matter. It's a civil matter between you and the landlord.
Yes, I was. It was a case before VCAT.
To the Victorian Rental Board that's been decided upon, and if your landlord, any agreement you had with you and your landlord, within the bounds of that, your landlord was obviously following, which isn't a police matter because it's a civil matter.
Isn't like that was everything I owned. My photos, my documents, my clothes, my furniture, my drawings, everything I had was taken to the tip while I was trapped. Don't you think that's a bit unjust?
That's a civil matter because it was an agreement between you and your landlord with regards to.
I didn't agree that he could come into my house and take the whole thing to the tip.
It's based on the rental agreement with the rental board in Victoria.
There was no rental agreement in place. I was squatting there.
Okay, so you're a squatter.
I became a squatter after being unable to pay my rent because work cover didn't pay, my former partner didn't pay, and my HCF income assist didn't pay. It's a political and universal way that's reducted all of my prosperity politically.
Okay.
There's no shame in being broke when it's not your fault.
There's no shame being broke at all.
Thank you. I question why you're saying you were squatting then as if I was some dirty scum, you know?
I don't believe I said that at all. I confirmed that you were squatting because that's what you said to me.
I confirmed I was squatting. It's because I'd been systemically robbed and all my prosperity redacted from me. And I believe the federal government's doing it because my former partner is an ASIO agent of a person of standing in political privilege, and I'm easily exploitable because I've identified myself with a mental illness in the past.
Okay. So why would they be exploiting you?
They're protecting Steve Iasonidis from having to give me a settlement. ASIC do it, Centrelink do it, the tax department do it, ASIO do it.
Why would they be defending him?
Because they don't want me to get his money and he doesn't want to give me the money he owes me for a settlement. That's why.
But why would all those organisations be wasting their time and effort to make that happen?
I've got the evidence that they have all gone into bat for him and covered it up. I'd like to present that information to police, please.
Yeah, but why would they be going to that effort to make that happen? Just trying to understand what the motive would be behind it.
It's to protect Steve Iasonidis in favour of exploiting me because I'm a person of political interest and I've actually got a public profile and I've achieved some great things in my life and people are jealous and want to destroy me. That's why.
Oh, okay. All right.
I used to be a cartoonist for The Age and the Herald Sun, and I've spoken in the Australian Parliament and I've got a doctorate. I know when harm is happening to me.
Okay. So do you think that's motivation enough for multiple government agencies to be trying to hinder you getting a settlement from your ex-partner?
Why haven't I been able to get a settlement from my partner?
I don't know. I don't have that information in front of me. I'm just asking you a question. You seem to be well informed on the matter.
Yeah, I am informed because I know what's happened to me because I'm the person it's happened to. What I'd like to ask you, can you just look up my name and just acknowledge to me that that relationship existed for 5 years?
What am I looking at?
My name, my identity, Richard McLean.
Mm-hmm.
So RICHARD.
Yeah, I'm just don't know why I would be looking up to you, and I've got no grounds at the moment to be looking your name up.
Well, I requested that you look me up so you can acknowledge that on the record it says my former partner is actually Steve Iasonidis.
I don't need to do that at the moment.
Well, I'm kind of requesting an acknowledgement from all government agencies that that relationship existed in the way that it will pave the way that I be paid.
I have no idea, and I'm not going to comment either way on that because I have never been involved in the matter.
Okay. You don't seem to be very cooperative or wanting to help me in the victimisation that I've described, do you?
I'm very happy to help, but there's not much I can do because, as I said to you at the start of this conversation, I'm not an investigator at the moment. It's not my role. If you want to make a complaint like this and you're based in Victoria, you can do it online at the AFCA website, and that's the best place to lodge that complaint. Provide the information online, and then that'll be disseminated to the appropriate area to investigate.
Well, that sounds all very nice, but I've already done that numerous times in the past, and I've been unable to get traction with any police. And in fact, the Australian Federal Police have, say, blocked my Twitter account. I can't access the family court. The Attorney General rejects my public interest disclosure, and the Office of Prime Minister and Cabinet refuse my freedom of information. And as a person who's...
The AFB don't have the capacity or the ability to lock your Twitter account.
Oh, the Instagram account. They did. They blocked me. I wouldn't be making it up.
We can't lock or block you posting on Instagram.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying Instagram have blocked me from viewing the Australian Federal Police on Instagram. Look, it's neither here nor there. Don't worry about that. But I'm just saying the broader issue is that the Office of Prime Minister and Cabinet have refused my freedom of information, and also that the Commonwealth Ombudsman have rejected my public interest disclosure. And that's disclosing corruptible conduct of public officials. And I believe that if I can't complain to the Ombudsman, then where do I go? Like, I can't go to police. I've been unable to get a lawyer because I've been framed by a very powerful lawyer. I've never had a lawyer, and I can't go to police. They don't seem to help me. Where will I go with this systemic and political issue? Because in actual fact, the oppression's just about killed me, and I'm suffering a detriment that there's another cover-up out of that.
And you said you reported this online? Did the AFP report a crime online?
Yes, I have numerous times in the past few years. This oppression's been going on for quite a number of years.
Okay, and what number did you get? Did you get a reference number from that? You would have got one off that?
Well, look, I would have a reference number, but the problem is, in this persecution, I had a company linked to the government destroy my website and my business and my ABN, and they ruined all my emails. So I actually lost all of my data, and I don't have it anymore. It was quite a number of years ago when I've made this initial report, and I've tried to make reports since, but they've never acknowledged it, or they've just said they can't investigate it.
Okay, so obviously the information you provided them prevents them from investigating because there's not enough substantial information for them to conduct the investigation. That's what they've come back to you with?
I can't remember, but I'm fairly sure it wouldn't be for that reason, because I've got very much a lot of information and evidence, including, hospital reports and health reports, and a lot of conduct, a lot of evidence which shows disclosable conduct of public officials. I mean, there is no denying that me and my former partner were together for 5 years, and that he was earning 40 grand a month and I was on a pension. He exploited me, and he continues to this day to enact family violence. And I wish to say now that he actually has been threatening to kill me and my dog. So in actual fact, right now, I'm in hiding, and government agencies don't know where I live. That's because I don't trust the system. The system has been responsibility for exploiting me.
Your ex-partner make threats against you, and you need to report that to your local police for investigation.
I already have. I've shown them the evidence, and they say, come down to the station and make a report. But because I'm vilified for mental illness, I thought they were going to lock me up, so I didn't go down. I've published it on...
That's probably things you need to do in the first case, so that's probably a good starting point.
Well, I can only say that I've already emailed this in to the police, and they know of it because they've came to my door numerous times, and I've showed them. They're well aware of the threat. And I actually did make an anti-violence order a number of years ago before I tried to go for his super, because I knew how malicious and evil he was, and I knew that there'd be retribution.
So what do you mean you tried to go for his super?
Well, I'm owed a fair, equal, legal settlement from our time together, which includes separation of assets, yeah?
Okay, so you're more after the money than protecting your safety. Is that what I'm taking from that?
No, that's not at all what I'm saying, mate. Okay. I'm saying that when I tried to make the anti-violence order, they rejected it. They rejected it because they were saying I was imagining it. They said they can't investigate something or make an order for something that I'm imagining.
Okay. And who said that?
The person who decided the AVO. I can't remember now. You know what? I've got a bit of a cognitive brain impairment. It's a lot to handle for me. I don't remember exactly who it was, but that's the letter I got back from the place that makes the decision for the AVO.
Okay, alright. Alright, well as I said, the best place to report it will be on the AFC website online. Provide as much information as you can on that website, and then that'll be looked at by investigators and then put to the relevant areas for investigation or to get in contact with you.
Okay, I just want to say it's been really. It takes a lot of courage for me to speak up about this. With this victimisation I've gone through and this oppression, which I also feel is from police officers. And I just want to say that I understand the Public Services Act, and when you're employed by the government, you have to follow a Charter of Human Rights of acting ethically. And if it doesn't seem like it's a legitimate thing to just fob someone off somewhere else, I think it's appropriate that you say acknowledge, for example, that so many things that I've said in today's thing, threats to kill, you just tell me to go somewhere else. You know, I couldn't make that.
Richard, as I said to you in the start, where you're calling now, which is the National Operations State Services Centre, our role is not to do investigations. It's to take calls like yourselves with other people who need assistance and direct them to the right areas. That is what I'm doing for you. That is my role.
But it actually is examples of.
Richard, I'm still talking to me. It is not currently my role to be a proactive investigator. It is my role to make sure the information that's provided to me is then passed on to the relevant areas. For that to happen, you need to report your matter online.
I was under the impression that examples of Commonwealth crimes and report them to the AFP include fraud against the Commonwealth Government and theft from a Commonwealth Government.
Yep. So I'm saying report it to the AFP, but you need to do that online.
You're not interested in my story at all, are you?
You're not listening to what I'm saying to you. I am not in an investigative position.
Is it my confusion to think that under the Public Services Act, someone of a public service standing must act ethically and within the law?
And I am. I'm advising you on where you can report your matter.
Okay, what do you think I should do if I report that matter and nothing happens, just like I've been to the Commonwealth Ombudsman and reported all this and still nothing's happened?
If you're reporting the matter will be investigated if there's substantial information to investigate the matter.
I've got plenty of substantial information. I've got evidence coming out of my arsehole, actually.
That'll be determined by the investigating officers, not by me sitting on a phone call to you.
Okay, can I just say though, I've already tried this quite a number of times, and I wanted to kind of speak to someone just as a kind, compassionate and reasonable person, and I'm just really trying to stand up for myself, and I've got all the information.
Richard, I think that's great you're trying to do that, but you doing that over the phone to me and trying to get that information relayed to me across the phone isn't the right avenue to do that.
Well,
do you understand? Can you understand that?
well, I'm trying to report a Commonwealth crime, and I've just Googled it, and it says to call the switchboard and get help to make a report.
Yep, and I'm giving you that help. You can report that matter online.
Okay. Can I just say before I go?
Yep.
It's really difficult for me to have got any justice. Like, for example, the cover up with the brain injury and the suicide that I went through. It's difficult to get an acknowledgement anywhere that my former partner and I existed in a relationship for 5 years. And in that way, all government agencies are really protecting that that relationship ever existed. I've got my Attorney General's decision not to allocate my PAYID. The Office of Prime Minister and Cabinet refused my freedom of information. And they first said it was quite voluminous, right?
Okay. So you've gone to a lot of areas and asked for the matters to be looked at. They've been looked at and found unsubstantial.
Well, that's not sufficient because the Office of Prime Minister and Cabinet refused my freedom of information on the idea that I don't exist and the documents don't exist. But how could they not exist if I've been engaged to an ASIO agent for the past 5 years?
I don't know that.
Well,
I haven't looked at it and I'm not an investigating officer in that matter.
I don't think you're really invested in trying to understand my perspective or listen to what I have to say, are you?
I'm not saying invested, I said investigating.
but you're not even invested in the story that I'm saying as a marginalised person who's a free citizen of this country, are you?
I am. I've been taking notes, and I've written all the details down here, and I've given you advice numerous times. So I'm quite.
What will you do with those notes?
Pardon?
What will you do with those notes?
I hang on to them.
Oh, do you? Put them in your file later on. Can I just ask, what came up when you...
Richard, what was that comment?
Put them in your files.
No, it stays in my diary.
Oh, right, okay. That's cool. That's part of your job.
Like you were making an allegation against me.
Well, I don't think you've been very cooperative. I am trying to get some traction with the justice issue here. And a lot of crimes happened.
Like you've gone to a lot of areas to try and get this traction, and nobody's giving it to you because there's not a lot of substantial information to provide.
I think it's quite substantial, your attitude with me today.
Okay, Richard. Thank you very much. I'm going to terminate this call now because we're not going anywhere. As I advised, if you want to report this matter, you can report it to the AFP website online, report a crime. Okay?
Can I just ask you what came up on the file when you looked up Richard McLean and the number that came up?
As I said to you, I haven't looked your name up, and I'm not going to be looking your name up because I've got no grounds to look it up.
Lastly, can I just ask you to look up my file and see what's written on there?
Richard, I've already answered you that question.
I'm requesting that you give me information that's on my file, please.
No.
You refuse? You refuse?
I'm not opening up your name on promise. I have no need to do that.
Yes, you do. I committed fraud.
You committed fraud, so now you're making an admission to an offence.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and what was that offence?
Well, I claimed a Centrelink pension for about 5 years, and that was really not because I wanted to. That was because my former partner demanded that I accept that prosperity when we were together, you know. It was under financial violence, family violence.
So you can report that online as well to the report a crime online.
You don't want to hear about the crimes I did?
Richard, as I said to you, I'm not an investigating officer. I can only direct you on where to for you to make your complaints.
But were you interested just a minute ago?
No.
You asked me about it.
As I said to you before, Richard, I am terminating this call. If you want to make a complaint, you can do that on the AFP website, the online report a crime.
I look forward to it being ignored.